5.
I would just say anything group of 5 or FCS.
Yeah, those need to be played early in the season.
Mm.
Well, welcome to the official review. You've joined us.
Nope. This is the Triple Coverage Podcast.
Wow. I cannot believe I dropped that. Welcome to the Triple Coverage Podcast.
Man, I feel so nostalgic.
Wow. That was a blast from the past. Welcome to the Triple Coverage Podcast, the rebranded official review.
Yeah.
You've jumped in the middle of a conversation, but we're glad you guys are here.
Yeah.
And first time in a while that all three of us have been here on the show.
And look, this is a little bit of a deep pull. I am pulling a Hayden McDaniel tonight. I am on my phone with AirPods in, just sitting in the living room doing a podcast. So I call this the Hayden McDaniel. So,
hey, the Hayden McDaniel tribute. If you're watching, Hayden, this one's for you.
We love you.
Also, my cat is joining us live today.
Oh.
But anyways, let's go ahead and get started. I want to start with the Lane Kiffin debacle that's continuing to play out right before our very eyes. We've been talking about Lane Kiffin almost every week, but he keeps giving us things to talk about. I think at this point, Lane Kiffin is kind of just messing with us, honestly, and I think that's just a very Lane Kiffin thing to do.
Right.
I've seen tweets that prove that he's going to Gainesville, going to take the Florida job. He was spotted in a private helicopter in Gainesville, scouting high schools for his son. But then the same thing in Baton Rouge as well. He's been posting cryptic tweets about Baton Rouge, and he was also spotted at LSU scouting high schools for his son. So it's like he's just really kind of playing mind games. I think he's having a little bit too much fun with it. But kind of catching the brunt of it all is Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Because he hasn't let them know what he's doing. He hasn't signed an extension. And at this point, Ole Miss's AD has said, you need to make up your mind by the Egg Bowl. If you don't let us know what's happening by the Egg Bowl, we're just going to fire you.
Mm-hmm.
And there actually is I saw this today, there actually is a clause in his contract that Ole Miss can fire him for cause if he does not give them a written, or if he does not ask for written permission to seek other jobs. There's a clause in his contract about that. So
That's kind of wild.
It's getting dramatic. I just thank God that Georgia is not in the midst of all this drama. We've got our guy for hopefully a long time. We don't have to worry about this drama. But what are y'all's opinions on Lane Kiffin in this whole coaching debacle?
I think that it's going to be really funny if he just returns and re-signs with Ole Miss after all this. And I think it's going to hurt LSU and Florida's search because they are all in on Lane Kiffin.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think he's going to take one of the two jobs. And I think that Ole Miss is going to get bounced first round of playoffs because of it.
Yeah, going into the college football playoff without a coach is going to be I mean, this is the best season in Ole Miss history, and they're potentially going to go into a playoff game without a head coach, which is just going to be awful.
Hosting a playoff game without a coach.
Does the committee pull Florida State and not let them in?
No.
I don't think that's going to happen. But Cody, you have any opinions on Lane Kiffin?
I love watching him on Twitter. I mean, I think he's just trolling. I think he'll stay, actually. I think he will. I think the ultimate troll would be trying to get an extension signed, get a really big contract, and then just ruin LSU and Florida's search. I think that's a Lane Kiffin thing to do. And the more that it just keeps going and going and going, the more I think that's what's really happening. But I could be 100% wrong. His coaching carousel is weird.
I think it's more than just Lane Kiffin being a troll. I think that is him doing that because he likes being a troll. But I also think it's his agent, Jimmy Sexton, trying to pit all these schools against each other so that he gets the largest contract possible. If they're all fighting against each other, he's basically gonna force somebody's hand to give him a stupid amount of money. And I think that's kind of at play as well. So
100%.
We'll see what happens with Lane Kiffin. As to Mitchell's point, it's going to definitely screw over either LSU or Florida, maybe possibly even both if he stays at Ole Miss, because now they'll be behind the 8 ball and trying to get the guy they want to get. So that'll be interesting to play out. We haven't had any new coach firings this week, as far as I know, but there
should be one.
Yes, we got to talk about that game. I don't think it was a game that we covered or picked last week because I thought it was going to be a blowout. And
it was
South Carolina Texas A&M game. Just what an absolute swing of emotions. It's South Carolina played probably as close to honestly, South Carolina didn't even outplay Texas A&M. Texas A&M made so many mistakes, and South Carolina just kept capitalizing on those mistakes. Marcel Reed turned the ball over 3 times in the first half. Their receivers dropped wide open passes, and South Carolina was hitting on everything. And their new look offense looks 10 times better than it did earlier in the season. Their offense looks like it has a pulse now. And so 30-3 at halftime. And it took the greatest comeback in SEC history for Texas A&M to win the game, and they did. A 31-30 final score. I thought it was a fireable offense. I thought that definitely was something worth firing Shane Beamer over. You don't blow a 30-3 lead at halftime. You're already 3-7 on the year. You can't then go and blow a 30. That's coaching. I mean, all you had to do is just sit on the lead, run the ball, chew the clock, and you're more than likely going to win the game. And they couldn't even do that properly.
Look, and then you think about a couple weeks ago, they did the same thing against Alabama. They folded against Alabama. They could have wins over Bama and A&M right now.
Shane Beamer is just not a closer. And his teams don't know how to close games out. We saw that last year too. They should have beaten Bama last season. There was a couple other games that they should have won, and they just did not know how to finish those games. And South Carolina fans, I feel for them. I mean, it's weird because South Carolina fans, they all seem to love Shane Beamer, but they're all also losing patience with Shane Beamer. So I don't know where South Carolina goes from here. I think they'll probably hang on to him just because they're not going to compete with all the other open jobs right now. They're not beating out LSU for a guy. They're not beating out Florida for a guy. So they may just stick with him just because they ain't got any other choice.
Yep.
Did you watch any of that game, Cody?
I did. Definitely the craziest thing that happened Saturday. Obviously, I was focused on our game and freaking out the whole time. But I had no excuse. I saw, in fact, I was trying to find it after the game. I think it was on Sunday. Shane Beamer had made some bold statements about being in the college football playoff next year. And to me, if you've got Texas A&M was number 3 at the time. I don't know if they moved any, but you've got them down that much, and then you give up. Like, you don't do that. Even Florida wouldn't have done that.
No.
It was awful. I mean, and you guys were right. I mean, it's 100% coaching. I mean, the team was locked in. Everybody was playing well. Texas A&M was still making mistakes, but somehow you just let them rally in a way that has not been done before. And then also, we're not talking about Mike Elko. I mean, you see how, I mean, most people give up in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, the rally is also equally as impressive as it is Shane Beamer's, inept ability to close out a game. So hats off Mike Elko. You those kinds of coaches, even younger coaches, well, even, all the way to Nick Saban, have had those moments where you're at halftime and your team is with their pants down and somehow you pull out a win. That's insane. So Texas A&M is very impressive to me because of not only that, but being able to pull off a win from such a upset situation.
I think that the biggest thing you can say, another thing you can say about it is in the age of the 12-team playoff where that loss wouldn't have kicked A&M out, they still got up and won the game in the second half. I think that shows another thing because Look, in all reality, A&M could have lost this game, and they'd still probably be a shoe-in for the playoff.
Yeah.
With how everything's going right now. So,
however, like I think there is something to be said that all of A&M's SEC games up to this point is the bottom half of the SEC. There's 16 teams in the SEC. All of their wins are teams in the bottom 8. And so they've got to play Texas next week.
Yep.
So we'll see. That's going to be the first real SEC test that they have.
On the road.
It's on the road. It's against their bitter rival that, Texas is going to be fighting just to make the playoff. Like Texas has to win that game. So that's going to be a dangerous one for Texas A&M. Yeah, the meltdown, I thought Shane Beamer should have been fired before he walked off the field. Especially how he was trash talking the fans at halftime and then came out after losing that game and just looked lost. That's just not acceptable.
Let's talk about the same time slot. I know Cody wants to talk about Tech's game.
So Boston College struggling with those Eagles.
Yeah.
My comment is we knew our defense was bad. NC State showed us, and then nothing improved. And the only thing that I have to feel any form of confidence is just the fact that our coach has blasted them the last few days saying, you guys should play better. You didn't play better. I'm very disappointed. And so we're glad we're not seeing, rainbows and sunshine from the coaching staff. We're showing, hey, we know what you guys can do against Clemson. We know what you guys can do. At the time of the beginning of the season, we were all talking about, well, Georgia Tech's going to turn the ball over 3 times, and their defense is going to have to help them out. To now we're talking about, well, you guys have a Heisman quarterback and the number one offense yards-wise in the country to the worst defense in the Power 4. Why? And I just hope they figure it out because Georgia will roll all over us. There's not enough points that Haynes King can pull up to defeat Georgia if we play like anything like that. So
I don't think you beat Pitt if you play like that. Because
absolutely not.
Pitt's defense. Well, Notre Dame embarrassed them, but Pitt has a really good defense, top 10 in certain categories. It's going to be Haynes King is going to make plays.
Top 5 against the run.
Top 5 against the run. Haynes King's going to make plays. We know that, but if it's just easy pickings for Mason Heinschel for Pitt, it's going to be. Will that eliminate Georgia Tech from the ACC championship if they lose that game?
So it won't eliminate, but it will reduce us down to like a 5%. Yeah, you got to get a lot of help. If we win, it's a shoe-in. So it's 100% guaranteed. Yeah, no, I agree. The only thing we've got is, this will be our 3rd sold-out game at Bobby Dodd. We play well at home. It is under lights. It's Haynes King's last game. It's 5 other seniors' last game. I have a feeling we're going to play to our competition better than we did before. But if it looks anything like last week, and in fact, I forgot the announcer's name, but he said, and the name of the quarterback's fleeting me, but he said that guy has so much time he could smoke a cigarette.
Dylan
Lonergan. We had no pass defense, no pass rush, nothing.
Brookwood alum from right down the road, Brookwood. My take on Georgia Tech right now is I think it's almost spells a recipe for disaster for Tech, especially next week, because I think Tech peaked at the wrong time and Georgia peaked at the right time. I think Tech peaked like towards the beginning of the year, winning big games, getting all the Heisman attention, starting off 8-0. And then because every team, no matter how good you are, like hits a peak and then they kind of plateau. Sometimes the teams start slow and then end the year good. Sometimes they start well, they end the year bad, or sometimes their peak is in the middle. I think Tech peaked at the wrong time, and I think it's showing right now. They're definitely going to be ready for the Georgia game because Brent Key hates Georgia.
Yep.
I guarantee you some of the struggles that Tech is facing right now is looking ahead. They're already prepping. They've been prepping for weeks. And we were having this conversation before we came on the air and before you came in the lobby, Mitchell, that even coaches like Kirby Smart have said that they use bye weeks to prepare for better teams down the road. They go ahead and use that extra time to prepare for those games. When we play teams like Charlotte, we'll only use half the week to prep for Charlotte, and we'll use the other half to prep for a game down the road.
I guess advantage Georgia because
yeah.
Georgia Tech has a game against a real opponent this week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so, like Lane Kiffin has said, that's what happened, why they almost lost to Washington State. He kind of alluded to that, how they only prepped for Washington State for like 2 days and then spent the rest of the week prepping for Georgia. So they would have a week and a half to prep for that game. So all coaches do it. And I think that's kind of what's happening to Georgia Tech right now. Is I think they're looking ahead to the Georgia game, considering what happened last year. I mean, all three of us were at that game. Heartbreaking loss for Tech. And in all reality, Tech should have won that game, but Georgia found a way to pull it out and win it. Also, Tech has not beaten Georgia outside of Sanford since 2000, 1999, something like that.
Yeah, it was Brent Key's last game.
Yeah, so that's the last time Tech has beaten Georgia outside of Sanford Stadium. This is going to be at Mercedes-Benz. I'm already seeing a lot of people saying that crowd's going to be 70-30 in favor of Georgia. So that's not going to be good. Don't know why Tech decided to give up that home field advantage for that. Yeah, I mean it's money, but you could have had an actual
poverty program
advantage. But yeah, that's my take on the game. I think Georgia Tech will show up to play next week, but they got to show up to play this week because they've got a big one. I wanted to mention. This
sounds crazy, but I think Saturday's more important to me than next Friday.
Oh yeah, and I mean, y'all
most people think that. I mean, we want to beat Georgia, but you got this is bigger than that.
You can lose.
You can still make the playoffs.
There's a world where you lose to Georgia, beat Pitt, and then if you win the ACC championship, you're in. But you could lose to Pitt, beat Georgia, and not make the playoff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I want to segue into the college football playoff rankings for a minute.
We got to talk about Oklahoma, Alabama, Georgia, Texas.
We will when we do recaps of last week. Well, I guess since we're already on the topic, let's just keep recapping games from last week. Then we'll get into.
Just go those two. Playoff. I think that's really it, right?
The Alabama Oklahoma game. Alabama 2 years in a row has lost Oklahoma. I'm sure you guys have seen the meme going around social media of the endless circle of teams that can't beat other teams in the SEC. Georgia can't beat Bama, but Bama can't beat Oklahoma, but Oklahoma can't beat Texas, but Texas can't beat Georgia. So it's like this 4-team circle of just teams that can't beat each other. And, I think for the foreseeable future, those 4 teams are going to still be at the top of the conference. They're going to run the conference. But Alabama, it finally reared its ugly head. The inability to run the football, just as Mitchell has been talking about the last couple of weeks, it finally reared its ugly head. It killed their ability to win this game. Ty Simpson looked off from the very beginning. They were able to get pressure on Ty Simpson, and that really, I think, threw his confidence off. That was the first time since the Florida State game that I've seen Ty Simpson not look confident in his ability, and I think that's what cost him the game.
Can you guys still hear me?
I can hear you. I can't see you, though.
Okay, that's fine because I'm looking at stats right now. Alabama lost this game outgaining Oklahoma 406 to 212. 300. They outrushed them, and they outrushed them 80 to 74, and they outpassed them 326 to 138, and lost the game.
Yeah.
Turnovers, like you said. I mean, Oklahoma came into that game. They said we might let up yards, but we're punching at every ball. There was three turnovers. The ball was on the ground 6 or 7 times. Yes, literally. It was. And that's a problem because as much as this Alabama hasn't turned the ball over much, the last 4 games, Ty Simpson has fumbled the ball once and lost a fumble.
Yeah.
LSU came off the edge and forced a fumble. Missouri, they forced a fumble. I think Vandy forced a fumble. Tennessee forced a fumble, and then Oklahoma forced a fumble and a pick off of Ty Simpson. So Ty
Pick
Simpson
six.
does have the
I think they got a pick six, yeah.
It was a pick 6. And I mean, that's gotta they can't do that. And now we're looking at a situation for Alabama that they didn't want. Season on the line at Jordan-Hare. It just got announced. It's at night. A 7:30 kickoff with potentially Deuce Knight starting.
Yeah, he's starting this weekend against Mercer, getting his first start. So
it is a nightmare situation. This is the exact – I called this a couple weeks ago. This is the exact type of Auburn team that beats Alabama.
Yeah.
The one that is not very good, the one that literally is playing just to spoil Alabama. And as much talk as we've had about Alabama being dominant this year, they lose to Auburn, they're out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So there's a lot on the line. This was a huge loss for Alabama. And on the other vein of it, it's a huge win for Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Oklahoma reinserts themselves into the playoff picture, and now all they have to do is win their next 2 games. They're in the playoff.
Oh, yeah.
And Mateer hasn't looked the same since the thumb injury, but they're proving that they don't have to have Mateer at full strength to win games.
Yeah.
And their defense can win games. Their turnovers can win games. Their special teams. This was if you ever wanted to show a young player that defense and special teams wins games, show them this game.
Yeah.
Because Oklahoma constantly was starting in good field position in this game to get field goals. Tate Sandell is probably the best kicker in the nation, Oklahoma's kicker. And then on special teams on the other end, you forced a fumble on Ryan Williams on a punt return, and you constantly had Alabama with their backs against their own end zone. It was a perfect game plan from Brent Venables, and they proved how to win a game when you don't have the talent edge.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what are your thoughts on the game, Cody? Did you watch any of Alabama, Oklahoma?
I did a little bit. I'm looking at the stats. Alabama beat them on every front, every stat by more than 50%, except on turnovers and the scoreboard. Yep. So double yardage, double first downs, half as many penalties, yards-wise, less than half on the penalties. Twice as many third downs. There were no fourth down for Oklahoma. They had 2 out of 3. And then time of possession, 10 more minutes. I mean, you read that stat line to me and you say, obviously someone won. It had to be out. No, it's just that is a definition of beating yourself. And what's crazy to me is if you look at Oklahoma, now they're ranked number 8. Alabama's number 10. Alabama, like you guys said, not only has to win the Iron Bowl to potentially go to the SEC championship, they cannot lose a game or else they will be out of the top 12 and will not be able to host a game. So they're in a lose-lose situation.
Yeah. And there's an Alabama fan that I talk to all the time, and he is worried that the committee will drop Alabama out if they lose the SEC championship game. And
that's very possible.
I don't know if they will do that because of what they did with SMU last year, losing to Clemson in the ACC championship game and still keeping them in. But it's a real possibility.
I think it would depend on margin of how bad they lose. If they were to lose the SEC championship game, I think it would depend on how badly they lose. If they lose 35-10, alluding to the next game we're going to talk about, then I think they'd be out. But if they lose by a field goal, I think they'd probably put them at 10 or 11, the 10 or 11 seed.
But again, I mean, the ACC champion is going to be 11. And the group of 5 champion is going to be 12. So all there is right now is 10. And since Notre Dame doesn't play a conference championship game, Notre Dame's in.
Yeah.
So there is very, very little spots now.
Oh yeah, Ole Miss probably won't play the SEC championship and will be in.
Yeah, Ole Miss is in.
I don't think
Oklahoma might be in.
Ole Miss doesn't even have a path to the SEC title game, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they do.
They can't.
if I think it's like if Georgia it's like it's something. There's like they have like a 5% chance to make the SEC championship game or something like that.
Well, the
But
problem is Alabama beats in the tiebreaker with Georgia if there's a 2-loss
yeah,
that happens. So Alabama would be over Georgia at that point. So I don't think there is a possibility for Ole Miss too. I'm looking at Texas. Texas A&M would have to lose to Texas, and then there would be these weird tiebreaker situations where it would be margin of error.
Yeah.
I think it's just getting there is a lot. I'm glad there's a 12-team playoff this year because if there was a 14 playoff this year, I don't know what would happen.
Yeah.
And so, in my opinion, right now that 10 spot is the cutoff. The 10 spot is the bubble. So Alabama's on the bubble now. You've got teams like BYU, Utah, Vanderbilt, Miami, all these teams that are fighting to get into the 10 spot that I don't know if Alabama does lose that SEC championship game, one of these teams that didn't play might slip in there. I think that's a possibility. If it was anyone not named Alabama, I think it would be a guarantee.
Yeah.
But we'll see. The Oklahoma win made things very, very interesting.
Yeah. There's still a path for Georgia to make it. I mean, they're going to need some help.
A&M has to lose, I think. And
A&M loses, or I think even if
Bama loses to Auburn.
Bama loses. Yeah. And then there's another weird scenario where, like the tiebreaker scenario that you sent, where if like Florida wins and Kentucky wins, then we get in somehow. I don't really know how that works.
Yeah, it's a weird metric, but we would get in over Alabama.
Yeah. All right. So speaking
Which
of
wouldn't
Georgia,
even feel right.
Let's segue into that. The Georgia-Texas game. You know, leading into this game, I had a very calm confidence in this Georgia team. I really felt like the Mississippi State game, we finally found something. We finally hit our stride. We were, especially defensively, because offensively we've been on it all year. Defensively, we finally found something that Mississippi State game, and it showed up against Texas. We're getting to the quarterback now. Pass rush is finally there. This team is peaking at the right time. They're getting hot at the right time. And we've seen over the last 2 to 3 seasons that it is the team that gets hot at the right time that wins the national championship. Not necessarily the best team. It's the team that gets hot at the right time. Right. And I think Georgia is now in a position to where they're getting hot at the right time to where I think legitimately we could win the whole thing. Especially if we get a favorable side of the bracket, which I think the way it's lining up right now is pretty favorable for us. So if we get a favorable side of the bracket, if we can stay healthy, that's going to be the key. I mean, watch out for this Georgia team. But, I mean, we've mentioned this a couple weeks in a row, but the fact that Gunnar Stockton has not been seriously considered for Heisman is criminal. And if after last week he is not seriously considered for Heisman, then this award can no longer be taken seriously. I know that I'm a biased Georgia fan, but stats don't lie. The numbers that he's putting up compared to the other two quote-unquote front runners, Julian Sayin and Fernando Mendoza, you put his numbers up against theirs, he's beat better teams. He's got better numbers. He has just a better resume overall to be in consideration for the award. And if he's not considered for it, if he's not in top 3 after last week, then I don't think the Heisman Trophy should be taken seriously anymore. We can't take this sport seriously anymore if he's not in consideration for it.
I think that more on this game, I really think that when the game was 14-10, I think Kirby realized, he's like, man, we have thoroughly dominated this game, and we're only up by 4. And so I think it flipped a switch. I loved the first 2 drives, right? You go down, very just seamless drives, just methodical, perfect drives, great mix of run. The run wasn't even going well for a minute there, and then we kind of reined it in a little bit in the kind of the middle part of the game.
Mhm.
We gave Gunner threw a bad pick. It was probably the worst pick he's thrown all year. Just to finally, he really just made a bad decision. Didn't see the guy, but we responded, and we went down. We scored. London Humphreys, and then the onside kick. Just a pure coaching masterclass to where when they went down when they scored and they made it 14-10, they didn't get the ball back until it was 28-10.
Yeah, I saw something that said that offense was on the sideline for almost an hour.
Yeah.
Almost an hour
was
of real time.
It was, and Texas never, other than the first drive of the game, went into, or other than outside of the first quarter, did not go into a drive leading or trailing by less than 10 or something like that. It was some crazy, because they didn't go into the drive where they scored down 4. They ended it, and then when they came back, it was 18. So it was some stat. I'm probably butchering the stat, but it was pretty cool when you saw it. It was a statement win for Georgia. It was physicality on the ground. The defense played great. You lost C.J. Allen in like the second quarter, and we still held strong. I think it was one of our secondary's best games, just making plays wise. And we did not bite on the eye candy. That is all the Texas offense is eye candy, and we really held it in check. Did we get some help in the first half with drops? 100%. Texas had like 8 penalties and like 4 drops, and that helped. But Georgia outplayed Texas, and very similar to what you were kind of saying, peaking at the right time. If you're playing your best ball at the right time, it doesn't matter what the rest of the season did. I think Georgia losing to Alabama and then playing a lot of these close games against inferior opponents has prepared them for what they're doing now. They don't want to play with their food because they know they've gotten away with it a couple of times, and we've seen that against Mississippi State. We've seen that against Texas, and I mean this week obviously we can't really gain anything from playing Charlotte, who's like 1-10. But yes, Gunner in the Heisman race wise, I think Gunner's 3 right now. If we were doing Heisman rankings, I think Gunner is 3. And I think the only 2 people above him are Haynes King and Ty Simpson. I think those are the only two guys that are above Gunner Stockton right now in the Heisman.
Even after last game, you still think Ty Simpson is ahead of him?
I think Ty Simpson's had 1 bad game.
2.
He didn't play bad against Florida State.
Yeah, he did. He did not play well. Ask Alabama fans. Alabama fans will tell you that he played terrible in that game.
Yeah, what? Maybe then it goes Haynes King, Gunner Stockton, Ty Simpson right now. Mendoza's been great. Sayan's been great, but I just don't see a world where they're better than Gunner Stockton right now. So.
Cody.
I don't have much to say on this. I did watch every play of it. It was a interesting game. I know what this end of season Georgia team looks like, and I've seen it before. It was a complete domination. But what is this Texas team? Because they've just had so many highs and lows. From the beginning of the season, taking Ohio State to a 14-7 loss, where we're all like, "Whoa, this Texas team is insane," or Ohio State sucks, which we all know is not the case. And then you go lose to Florida, but then you destroy Oklahoma, the Red River Shootout, who then beats Alabama and then loses to Georgia in this fashion. 35-10. Most of 21 points from the fourth quarter, so it was 14-10 by the beginning of the fourth. But still, I don't know what to think of Texas. Ups and downs. I don't think they had just not a lot of consistency, and I don't know when they peaked. Maybe it was midway after Oklahoma, but I don't know if they peaked.
I think, and not to cut you off, I don't know if you were done or not, but I think Texas, the mistake that they made is they spent a lot of money on getting position players, but didn't spend enough on getting offensive linemen, and they don't have a great running back. Wisner is formidable. He's okay, but he's not a star back.
He's one of the most overrated backs I've ever seen in my life.
Their running game is not there. Their offensive line can't protect Arch Manning, but they have all the bells and whistles. And Arch Manning just hasn't been what we thought he was going to be.
I think Arch Manning played a good game against Georgia.
He did, and he's gotten better as the season progressed. I'll give him that. But and I also think it goes back to kind of I don't know if you guys saw the subtle shot that Kirby shot at Texas. He didn't mention Texas by name, but getting the context clues, you can tell that's who he's referring to. He basically, after the game, had alluded to, like, listen, kids nowadays just want the check, but they don't want the physicality. And he said, if that's you, then you don't belong here. We're going to give kids a check, but if you don't want the physicality, you don't belong here. And I want you to he basically said, I invite you to transfer out of my program. He said, we want to play teams that you want to transfer to because you don't like the physicality here, because that means we're going to be better than you. We're going to beat you. Yeah. And I think personally that was kind of a subtle shot at Texas, because Texas has beat us in recruiting some key guys the last 2 years by just signing bigger checks. And Kirby, I think that was kind of a subtle shot at those guys. Like, okay, you can take the check, but we're about football here. We're about physicality. You'll get paid here. You won't get paid as much as those other guys. You'll get paid here, but you're going to have to be physical. You're going to have to get down and dirty. You're going to have to grind every single day. And if you don't want that, then this is not the program for you. And it shows. Physicality alone wins more games than talent does.
Yep.
I think. If you can be physical for 4 quarters, more often than not, that'll beat a team that's technically more talented than you.
Yep.
That mindset is the mindset that Dabo thinks he has.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if he would dip into the portal, I think he could go back to dominating, but he won't do it.
No.
And I think the Colts.
He said that they don't give checks to people except ones that have earned it. So there's a lot of seniority that happens at Clemson. So if you come transfer in, even we got transfers from that were committed to Clemson just because we actually wrote a check, and Clemson said you have to earn your checks. So a little interesting.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, let's get into the let's talk about the college football playoff very quickly, and then we'll get into this week's games.
Yeah, we've alluded to it a little bit.
Georgia moved up to number 4, obviously with the Bama loss. No change outside of the top 3. Texas Tech at 5, Ole Miss at 6, Oregon at 7, Oklahoma at 8, Notre Dame at 9, Bama falls to 10. I thought Bama probably should have fallen maybe a little bit more than that. I thought Texas should have fallen farther than 17, in my opinion. But
do you think Notre Dame deserves to be above Alabama right now?
Maybe I could see the argument for why they shouldn't be. I still don't think they should be ahead of Miami. I don't understand what the argument is.
That was going to be my thing once you finish your spiel. What is, like, I don't get the commissioner, the college football playoff commissioner has no idea what he's talking about.
Well, he actually stepped down. He actually resigned from Baylor this week, and they had to assign a new commissioner.
I thought it was from Arkansas. Yeah, the guy from Arkansas.
The one from Baylor. Was the one from Arkansas. This was his first week as the chairman, because the other guy literally resigned from Baylor.
Yeah. He's saying we haven't assessed Miami versus Notre Dame head to head because they're not in the same talent group right now. But you can't do that, and you can't when they have the same exact record. And Miami has a head-to-head win against Notre Dame. I think Miami should be the blockade for Notre Dame until they lose, because they're going to do that with BYU and Texas Tech. They're going to do that with Utah and BYU. Utah's never going to get above BYU because BYU beat Utah. Yeah. And they're doing that with everyone else. They did it with Texas and Oklahoma before Texas lost. But now all of a sudden – you can't compare Miami and Notre Dame because they're not on the same level.
Yeah. I mentioned this, I think, last week. If we're not going to consider strength of schedule and head-to-heads, then why even schedule non-conference games that matter?
Right.
Why not schedule Charlotte 4 times? If it's not going to matter, then let's just stop scheduling those games then. The committee told us after last season that going into this year they were going to consider that more. They were going to make that their top priority: strength of schedule, strength of record, and all that stuff. And that was the whole reason why Greg Sankey did the mandate where we had to go to 9 conference games and we had to play 1 Power 4 opponent. But if they're going to backtrack and say we don't consider that anymore, who's to say Greg Sankey doesn't say, you know what, never mind, we're not doing that anymore. We're just going to keep doing what we've been doing. There's no incentive to do that anymore. Cody, you have any comments on the rankings right now?
Yeah, I mean, for all the teams that I watch and care about, I mean, I think my team is where they should be from their performance. But we did beat Boston College, and we went down in ranking. So it's like we did get a win, and I was expecting to stay the same or go up. We went down 1. And now I'm just like, well, that doesn't make any sense. And then you look at the top 10, you look at the whole Notre Dame thing. Why is Notre Dame, what is it, 5.4 ahead of Miami? Miami's, I mean, yeah, they've had some bad, but they beat them, right? I mean, some of these things need to matter. And also BYU at 11 is a little interesting. I've got opinions about that, but I don't know, man. I hate committees. I like formulas. And at least with the conferences.
Computer polls, please go back to computer polls.
At least with the conferences, we know we can mathematically decide on a sheet of paper. All of us can sit in a room and figure out who's supposed to be on top because of the games that they won. And that we don't have that. We just have it's getting to be like the Heisman. I mean, the Heisman has to do with story and, motivation. But then it affects by your team, also winning. But that doesn't make any sense. It's the same crap. So the whole committee thing is retarded and needs to go away. Because these guys don't even watch the games. Well, 2 weeks ago, they kicked us way out from 7 all the way to 17 because they said we got beat on both sides of the ball. Well, homie, I hate to tell you, Haynes King had his best game then, and we put up 38 points. You didn't even watch that game. And how many times have they done that for other games?
No, they don't watch them. They watch maybe.
They don't watch them.
They watch the ABC. They watch the SEC all day, presented by IHG on ABC. That's what they watch.
We need some computer nerds at Georgia Tech to come up with a formula of.
We already have ChatGPT. Like, gosh,
exactly.
There would be a way better ranking.
Well, we need somebody to come up with a computer formula that factors in what's the most important things, strength of schedule, head-to-head matchups. Then you just let the computer do the polls because then it'll be consistent every single time.
The JP
there's no human bias there. There's no whatever. Just use the computer, and that way you can't say, oh, well, there's a bias here. These guys don't watch the games. The computer is just going to go strictly off data. And so I think we need to go back to computer polls. I know everybody hated them, but I think that's the way to go.
It's not going to happen.
And last thing I'll mention very, very quickly, Michigan's hovering around there. I did say they'd be the last team in. So if they can win out, Michigan's going to be in. They're going to be that. They're going to hover in and get that last spot.
If they beat Ohio State, they're in.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, let's get to the games this week. Let me give a quick points update. I think Cody won the week last week, or maybe I did. I don't remember. But I have 140.
Wasn't me.
I have 140 points. Cody's got 134, and Mitchell's at 117 points. He was really banking on that Tennessee Tech win over Kentucky, and they got blown out. But let's go
close in the first half.
Let's go to the first game. Florida State travels to North Carolina State. It's a Friday night game. It's playing tomorrow night. These ACC Friday night games are just weird, but I'm going to pick Florida State to win this game on the road. I think they win it close. North Carolina State's just too inconsistent for me. Well, really, both teams are just vastly inconsistent. But I had to go with my quote unquote formula. The way I pick teams says pick Florida State, so I'm picking Florida State. That's really the only reason I'm going with them. Cody,
isn't this the second Friday night Florida State's played? Did they lose to Virginia?
I think so. I
on
think
Friday
so.
night.
Did.
Interesting. Same reasons. My algorithm that is doing pretty good this season. I'm pretty happy with. It says Florida State. It's going to be close for me. It's at NC State. Crazy things can happen. I could see it going either way. I can see both coaches being fired by the end of the season, but I think Florida State will win a bowl game.
There you go, Mitchell.
I think that's an interesting thing that you just said there, Cody, because I think the NC State wins this game close, and I think it leads to the firing of Mike Norvell.
I don't know if they haven't fired him at this point. They're not going to. It's too late now.
I hope
You're
they
going to be
don't.
so far behind. You're gonna be
Unless
so
they have
far
a
behind
candidate
the
that they
search.
know is going to be there.
I mean, who knows? It's college football. Who knows?
Deion Sanders.
Florida State alum. All right, next one. Missouri at Oklahoma. I did just see right before we came on air that Pribula has been upgraded to probable for this game.
Yep.
So I'm not gonna. That's
Somehow.
not really gonna change my pick necessarily. But Cody, why don't you go first on this one?
I'm actually going to pick Oklahoma close. It's a toss-up for me.
All right, Mitchell.
I'm going to go Oklahoma comfy in this game. I think that they're going to be able to contain Ahmad Hardy enough. I know that Pribula is going to play, but I think Zollers is going to start. I think Oklahoma's going to be able to get enough pressure on a true freshman that they're going to be able to be in this game for a minute. I think Missouri's defense keeps them in it, but Oklahoma wins comfortable.
Yeah. Before the Pribula news, I had Oklahoma winning this game big because while Zollers, I'm seeing flashes of why he was highly recruited. I still just don't think he's there yet. I don't think this offense is there yet. And Oklahoma's riding big off some momentum. Now that Pribula is probable, I'm tempted to go down to comfy, but I think I'll just stick with Oklahoma big. I think I'm going to stay with Oklahoma winning big in this game. Still think they can win by 17 because even if Pribula plays, I don't think he's definitely not going to be healthy.
No.
So he's not going to be able to use his legs probably as much. Which was his injury an upper body or lower body injury? Do you remember?
Lower. He nearly broke his ankle.
We're seeing a comment here that says Kiffin confirmed to Florida. I haven't seen that. I don't think it's being reported. We talked about it at the very beginning of the show. Again, I haven't seen that. I don't know if you guys could look that up if that's a confirmed thing. I don't think it's been confirmed. But next game, Louisville at SMU. Again, two teams that have the same record, 7-3. SMU has been getting hot lately, whereas Louisville has dropped 2 games in a row, they're kind of dropping off the table here. So, Mitchell, why don't you go first with this game?
Oh, gosh, I was trying to find the news.
I don't see anything.
I still don't see it, but I've got SMU winning this game close. At home, they've played a lot better than on the road this year. I think that Kevin Jennings will be able to make a play. And Louisville is going to come down from their descent from their high of beating Miami and then just kind of falling off the face of the earth.
Yeah, I'm going with you. I've got SMU winning this game close. Louisville, I like this Louisville team. I like Jeff Braun, but ever since the loss to Cal, they kind of just don't seem like the same team right now. They kind of keep finding ways to lose games, and I think they lose a very close one again to SMU this week.
I've got
whatever. I'm sorry, Mr. Blake.
Oh, you're good.
I'm not seeing it, fella.
I'm not seeing it either. Give me SMU close because I think Brom's a great coach, but I don't know what it is. He's kind of lost the locker room a little bit, and if you watch the second half of the Clemson game, it just not 100%. I just didn't feel something's off with Louisville, and nothing is off with SMU right now. And Jennings has 21 touchdowns, passing touchdowns right now. It's more than double what Moss has, and Moss has 7 interceptions. I don't know. It's a little bit of a toss-up to me. I could see it either way, but I like SMU at home, so give me them close.
There you go. That means Louisville's probably going to win this game.
Louisville's winning.
Next one, Kansas at Iowa State. And look, I mentioned this to Cody. The games were kind of hard to pick this week. A lot of games that I didn't really feel like I cared about that much, but not a lot to choose from. So Kansas at Iowa State.
Yeah.
Look, I want to pick Kansas. You guys know how I feel about Kansas, but I'm going to pick Iowa State comfortable. Really nothing else to say about this game. Iowa State comfortable. Cody.
I'm picking Kansas. This is my flip. So I'm going Kansas close. And then Zach's going to hate me when I am getting points because of this one.
Hey, I'll be happy that Kansas won.
I agree. Kansas close.
There you go. All right, next one.
Because I think Matt Campbell's got his eyes somewhere else.
Man, we say that a lot, don't we?
Yep.
Brady. What's up, Brady? I'm going to show this comment here.
Such an original comment.
Brady Kuykendall, the GOAT. So to speak. Kentucky at Vanderbilt is the next game we're going to cover. Cody, give me your thoughts on Kentucky Vandy.
I want Vanderbilt. Been deciding on comfy or close. I think I'm going to sit on comfy. Give me Vandy comfy.
Did you skip a game?
I think you did.
No, so I moved USC Oregon because that's the game day location, and I didn't realize that, so I moved it down to the last game.
Got it.
Kentucky Vandy. I've got Vanderbilt comfortable in this game as well. I do think Kentucky has played better than I think a lot of people thought that they would play this season. They're 5-5. I thought they'd be the last team in the SEC, but give me Vandy comfy. Even though their defense is one of the worst in the SEC, I think they pull it out. Mitchell is fighting for his life for some reason.
Yeah, you'll see when you get to the comment section. I don't know if you know what that song is, but I'll send it to you after this if you don't.
I don't know what it's referencing.
Vandy has their playoff lives ahead of them, or still in front of them right now. Kentucky has nothing to play for. Give me Vandy big.
Kentucky has spoiler to play for, if nothing else. But TCU at Houston. Interesting game. Houston just got back into the rankings. TCU, the fighting Furries, coming off a loss last week. Mitchell, give me your pick in this game.
I've got Houston comfortable. I think that there's word around the street that Sonny Dykes is under NCAA investigation right now for some sort of cheating scandal, some sort of bribery or something. I read something quickly about it. Not fully sure if it was a trustable source, but they did not play well last week. They got mollywopped last week, and I think that they're going to lose again this week to Houston. Connor Wegman's a really good quarterback. So is Josh Hoover, but I think they have the better team, Houston.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go the other way. Give me TCU to win this game close. I think that they want to bounce back. And Houston, while I do think they have a good team, I think that they have kind of benefited from a sort of easy schedule, an easy conference schedule. They've kind of played some of the lesser teams in the Big 12. I think this will be a very, very close game. Like, I could see this being a 1 or 2 point finish. But give me the Fighting Furries to win this game. Give me the Horned Frogs. Cody.
I read the same thing you did about Sonny Dykes. I don't know if it's credible or not, but it's kind of interesting. I chose Houston close. So I think Houston will pull it off.
Yep.
Well, now I feel left out that I didn't read the same article that you guys did.
I'll send it to you. It's a Twitter post.
Pitt at Georgia Tech. This is obviously, we talked about this earlier. This is a must-win game for Georgia Tech. Must-win game for Pitt, too. Both of these teams still have a chance to make the ACC title game. So this one might be the best game of the day, to be honest with you. I'm going to go first. I got Georgia Tech winning the game close. I think I like Brett Key. Like, as much as I can't – as a Georgia fan, I can't say that I like Brett Key, but I do. I like the way he coaches. I think he's a little bit better of a coach than Pat Narduzzi, and I think they have a better offense that'll win them the game here. It's probably going to be a shootout. I wouldn't be surprised if this game ends up being a shootout, but give me Georgia Tech winning the game. Close. Cody.
I had a vision that Buster Faulkner decided to open the almighty playbook early and not open it next week, but open it this Saturday. And I think we will beat Pitt comfy and play our best game at the detriment of losing to the Dogs next week. But that is a choice that Buster Faulkner has chosen, and that is my vision, and I think that's what's going to happen. So give me Tech, comfy, and we go to the ACC championship.
There you go. Mitchell.
Look, I'm in a situation where I do need points here. This was my pick before all of this. I think Pitt's going to win this game. And I think Pitt's going to win this game purely from a physicality standpoint. Cody has noted how badly the Georgia Tech defense has played. The way to beat Pitt is to slow them down and to turn Mason Heinschel over. And I don't know if Georgia Tech can do that consistently. Now, there's a world where I think, and I've said this to Zach a couple of times the last 2 weeks, if I was putting money on a game, I think I'd pick Georgia Tech. Senior night at home, Haynes King's final game at Bobby Dodd. But I'm going to go Pitt close. I'm going to go Pitt close to be on the other end of the spectrum here. I think
you need points. It's respectable.
I think Mason Heinschel has a good game. I think Haynes King has a great game. I think the defense of Georgia Tech is the detriment.
All right, Tennessee at Florida. This is a rivalry. I think this is odd how late in the season this game is happening.
They usually play pretty early.
Yeah, this game
That
usually
feels like a week
happen.
forward kind of game.
Yeah, this game usually doesn't happen this late in the season, if I'm not mistaken. At least I don't remember the last time it was played this late in the season. However, Tennessee has very much struggled in the swamp the last couple of years. I know my in-laws, I talked to my father-in-law a lot about it, and he's just like, we just cannot win in the swamp. Like, I don't know what it is about the swamp. We just cannot win. So with that being said, Cody, who do you got winning this game?
So I actually have Tennessee winning close, which is crazy because, like you said, they don't win in the swamp. But I think they can pull it off, but I think this is just a unique opportunity where Florida's still trying to figure out, who their coach is going to be. They've had some decent close games, but they can't seem to figure out how to win them. So I think Tennessee will figure it out in the end, but I can see it going either way. But give me Tennessee close.
Mitchell.
I've got Florida winning this football game. I think that they're coming off a pretty positive performance against Ole Miss. They've played good games against Georgia, played good games against Ole Miss. They didn't play a good game against Kentucky. I think that Tennessee's going to be looking ahead to the Vanderbilt game, where they still have a very slim chance to do something or at least play spoiler to Vanderbilt. I think Florida's going to catch them off guard here. Low-scoring, ugly game. I think Florida wins close.
I'm going to go with the lesser of two evils here. I'm going to go Tennessee close. I don't like either one of these teams, but I like
this game. Yeah.
I like Tennessee just maybe a hair more than I like Florida. This is the I want to see both teams lose bowl.
Yeah.
But I'm going to pick Tennessee close. I think they need this game. They still have an outside chance of making the playoff. I don't think they will.
It's
but
outside.
They still have an outside chance. I think they need this more. And to be honest with you, I think Florida's kind of given up. The way they played against Kentucky, they gave up.
They played a 4-quarter game against Ole Miss.
I think there's more to it than that. I think Kiffin may have been playing with fire there with Florida. I don't know, but I think maybe Florida was playing their best to maybe try to entice Kiffin. I don't know. I think there's a little bit more there than
it's like wearing your best outfit when you know you're going to see your crush.
Yeah, something like yeah.
That's
a good way to illustrate it. That's actually a really good way to illustrate it. Honestly.
I like that.
But yeah, I think this Florida team's given. I think they'll give Tennessee a good run for their money. That defense is still very good, and I think Florida wants to get at least one win under this interim coach, and it would not shock me if they won this game because, like I said, Tennessee cannot seem to win in the swamp. But I think they get off the schneid and win a close one on the road. I do think, though, if Tennessee loses this game and they lose to Vandy, you're going to start hearing rumblings about Josh Heupel.
Yep.
You can book it right now. BYU at Cincinnati. This will be another interesting Big 12 game. Cincinnati has kind of fallen off the table the last couple of weeks.
They can still make the Big 12 championship.
Mitchell, why don't you go first on this one?
Yeah, this is a big game for Big 12 championship implications. BYU just came off a really well-played game last week. Bear Bachmeier has been very, very good. He's hasn't been not like eye-popping, but he's been serviceable. I think BYU wins this game close. I think BYU's got a lot to play for. They've got their playoff lives, and BYU they have to start. They need impressive wins if they're going to give themselves any room for error. And I think they're going to go in, play a really tough competitive game against a good Cincinnati team on the road in a very wild environment, because Cincinnati can also make the Big 12 championship game at this point. Give me BYU close.
Yeah. I think Scott Satterfield the last 2 weeks has shown me why I don't believe in Scott Satterfield. The team is just – they were red hot. They were the best team in the Big 12 record-wise. The last 2 weeks they've played decent teams, and they've lost. As a matter of fact, I don't even think they lost to a decent team last week. I think they lost to kind of a but anyways, that's besides the point. I've got BYU close. I think I've lost faith in the Cincinnati team, even though they're at home. But I think BYU wins the game close.
Yeah, I'm going to be boring and say BYU close as well. Cincinnati can put up points and stats wise they look really good, but BYU plays better situational football and has only gotten beaten bad by Texas Tech, which is completely fair. But all the other teams that in the Big 12 are in my opinion a lot better than the teams that Cincinnati played. They played better situational football, complementary football. They were able to figure out how to win games in the fourth quarter, and it's just something that Cincinnati hasn't figured out yet.
All right, and the game of the week, USC-Oregon, classic Pac-12 rivalry that's been transferred to the Big Ten. Two ranked teams here. Both teams, I think, still have a shot at the playoff. Oregon obviously does, but USC still think has an outside chance to make it, especially if they win this game. Oregon has looked very vulnerable this season to me. They lost Indiana. They just haven't dominated the way that we've typically seen them dominate. And not that you have to be a good team, but I'm still going to pick Oregon to win this game comfortable because I think they need it more, and I think they're going to get up for this game. It's a home game. Game day is going to be there. Give me the Ducks to win the game comfortable. Cody.
I'm picking the Ducks close just because it's at home. I could see this going either way. It is a huge rivalry, but it's at home. That's tough, and it's game day. So I'm going to take the home team close.
Mitchell.
I'm making an audible. I'm gonna go USC close in this game. I look, USC is in if they win this game. If they win out and go 10-2 with a win over Oregon, they're in.
Mm-hmm.
I think and Oregon is out at 10-2 at this point. With it because they would be blocked out by USC with head-to-head, blocked out by Indiana, obviously. I think
they wouldn't have any good wins either.
No, they wouldn't have any good wins. As much as I know, me and Zach talked about this the other week. Would Penn State, where in that situation when they played, Penn State was the number 3 team in the nation. But we could debate that all day. I think USC wins this game. I think Jade Maeva has his best game, and I think USC plays enough or stops the run enough to where Dante Moore has to try to force it down the field. USC causes a couple turnovers. They win this game close on the road and, maybe book their ticket to the playoff.
All right, now let's get to our super dogs, and we'll wrap it up for the day. Does anybody want to volunteer to go first? I mean, I can give mine first.
I'll go first.
Go for it.
I've got Maryland plus 13.5 over Michigan. Michigan just came off a really close game against Northwestern. I think Maryland can play a similar type game. I don't think they're going to win this football game, but I think it could be a look-ahead spot for a younger Michigan team looking towards the game against Ohio State. I think Maryland can keep it close and cover that 13.5.
All right, Mitchell. Well, I think you're going to kick yourself for picking that game because it's the same one I picked. I picked Maryland to cover Michigan 13.5. It was just the best bet on the board for me.
Can I do my FCS pick this week? Can I do the FCS
Do it.
pick?
I'll give you the same deal if you want to pick. So I'll give you time to search up your game. Cody, what is your super dog for this week?
I don't know if this is true, but this is what Grok and ChatGPT said that, when James Franklin took over, I think yesterday, technically, is he actually going to coach for real the Saturday's game? And everything said yes, even though I have no idea. Like, do you let the interim still coach and you just stand on the sidelines? It's a little weird.
There's no
but
way
I hate
he coaches. There's no way.
I don't think so either, but he might be on the sidelines. I don't know. Do you think Virginia Tech might play their best game for their new coach? I have no idea, but 18.5 points is a lot, so I'll take it against Miami. So Virginia Tech covers 18.5 to Miami.
Okay. That was another one I was looking at. There's literally no chance James Franklin is coaching this game this weekend.
I read an article that said he was, but
All right, you got your pick?
Mercer Auburn.
There's not a line on that game, is there?
There's not a line. I think the agreement was if they lose by less than 10, I get 3 points.
One possession.
If they lose by one possession.
One possession, you'll get 3 points. If they upset Auburn, I'll give you 10. I'll give you 10 points.
Deal.
All right, there you go.
Mercer is 9-1.
I know.
And Mr. Atkins has 33 touchdowns for 3,253 passing yards.
Hey, the boys from Macon, Georgia, going to go play the Auburn Tigers.
I said the same thing about Tennessee Tech last week against Kentucky. So
he picked 10-0 Tennessee Tech against Kentucky. They lost 42-10.
There's levels to this crap, man.
Yeah.
Crazy.
All right, well, that's the show, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the few people that came in and commented, even though this particular comment was fake news. Appreciate you commenting. Appreciate you watching. Appreciate you, Brady. I don't know if you're still in here, but appreciate you too. Thanks for watching. Enjoy your weekend full of football. And next week, we are probably not having a show because it'll be Thanksgiving next Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Monday.
I'll be out of town all week next week. I'm not sure I can do Monday, but we'll talk about that later. So in the event that we don't have a show next week, have a great Thanksgiving with your families.
Yep.
We love you guys. Appreciate you. Peace.
Peace.
See you guys.